Hey,
Hey,
what's up, guys? How you
how's it
doing?
Hey,
going?
how are
Good,
you?
good,
Good. What have you guys been up to during this time? How you been?
good,
Good.
man. Was a lot of pandemic training.
Yeah. How's that been for you guys? What's kind of the setup been training for
Well,
you guys?
so the pandemic here, it was really like it was not that too it's not too hard, because I think in Texas people are way more like aware, like
Yeah.
they like if the governor says something, they will just accomplish.
Yeah. So it's been pretty easy for you guys, pretty much.
Yes,
Yes, was
yes.
good,
It
bro.
was
You guys been
it,
training? You guys basically been able to train the whole time?
yeah, so we were doing
Uh,
like
I'm
we were doing
jealous.
sessions like comp trainings and close with the gene lock, only the actually the athletes. I think most
Yeah.
like everybody else.
Man, that's nice. I saw you guys because you guys have been competing a fair amount too. And for me, I want to compete. I want to get back to it, but it's hard because I really haven't been able to do like the amount that I'd want to. But it's basically been like every day for you guys, right? Pretty much been regular routine.
Yeah, so I think in Texas we are open since May 18th.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been like a month that we've been like now we are regular schedule training every day. Like the only thing that I miss a lot is the workout because until like a few weeks ago it was closed, right? Everything was closed. Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't let like too many people go into the gym.
Mm.
So and we were struggling a little bit with the workout.
Oh, poor you. Come on. You guys you guys got it good out there. I'm gonna move to Texas. That's it.
I
Um,
tell this to everybody.
so I always like to ask people obviously you kind of it doesn't sound like you guys had to adjust too much. It was pretty much like business as usual for you guys. But I feel like a lot of people had to use this opportunity to be able to work on something different. Try to expand yourself in a different way. For me, like it's doing this. It's making these connections with different people, doing these live chats. It's finding different ways to work out like in my garage or doing different things
That's
or
awesome.
getting mats in my apartment. um, what are some things that you guys feel like have you been able to improve on during this time? Something that maybe is even outside of jiu-jitsu. Is there anything that you've been doing or focusing on outside or
Well, like
things?
in our school, right, babe, we have a Bible study, right,
Mhm.
on Tuesdays and Friday.
Yeah.
Actually, today at 8:30 we're gonna have Bible study, and then we were most like find a way to study more the Bible, know more about
Mm.
God and how
Yeah.
to and creating like try to create these strategies to like to bring curiosity of the people to know more about God, and
Okay.
this is where what we like every student assign or they just come by the gym to visit. We are always like, hey, we have Bible study too, not on jiu-jitsu, like try to always like even we never know, right? A lot of people there's different religions, but even though we know that, we still trying like try to create some curiosity, share a little bit of our testimony,
Yeah.
and study a little bit more the Bible, so we can actually have way more to to help people out.
Yeah, I feel like that's got to be a great way to connect people, even if they come from different backgrounds or something, just to have like kind of a unity outside of just jujitsu. I think that's probably like what the goal in mind, would you say, is, right?
Yes,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
in jiu-jitsu I think the best part of the training, it's after training. It's
Mm.
the hangout, is the the talking, right, on the mat.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
sit
yeah, yeah.
around and you start to talk, and I think this is the most funny part.
Yeah. So have you guys? Oh, so okay. We'll get a little religious talk. I hope people that are on the chat don't mind. But I've seen you guys promote it a lot. Is that something that you've always had in your heart, or is it something that kind of had a realization a little bit later on in life? Because I feel like I saw a shift in you guys where you kind of took more of more of that route. Was there something that kind of changed for you guys? Was there something that something happened, or have like a realization of some kind?
Yes.
Yes, on the beginner, like whenever we start training, compete, it wasn't like that. But since we moved to US, we passed for a lot of hard path, and
Mm.
then we find God,
Yeah.
and that's and after that, after we get baptized and everything, there's a testimony about our life, about our relationship and everything,
Hmm.
our lives transformed, was like this, and then we
Yeah.
start winning some tournaments, and we start get good on with money and everything with our life, and before we didn't have even place to go to stay, to
Yeah.
live.
We were like
Yeah.
homeless.
Yes, we was
Yeah.
living like homeless. Every week we was in different place with different friends, like New York. We was in
Da-
Arizona, Las Vegas. Like
Dallas and
Dallas.
Yeah.
And then after we took this decision, and then we prayed God and asked Him give us directions, and we come back to San Antonio, and everything started happening.
Mm.
Now we have gin, we have like a real life. We have
Yeah.
uh,
uh,
oh my God, this is Paul.
Paulo, he asked like how, how many times I get on the line of the beauty. Yeah,
So,
so
Yes.
it was
so that,
it
yeah.
was a really hard time in the beginning. Like Nachi said, it was a difficult times. We were too young. We got married too young.
Hmm.
We it was like 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Pretty much 3 years ago when we got married, and we were the
You
young.
guys are still kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then but it's crazy because I came from a religious family, not too
Hmm.
religious, but they're Christians. They believe in God, and since of the beginning, they always teach me as a kid that the marriage was an important thing.
Mm.
And when we got married, we went through a bad time in the first year,
Yeah.
and we were young, and then we were about to get divorced, like so young.
Yeah.
And then I start to like get so sad, and I was most like living Natchez life, like trying to give as much as I could of myself to her to be successful in jiu-jitsu, try to train, give the so on that time we were in Dallas, and I was actually like teaching classes so that way I could afford it for the place, so she can live and eat well, be healthy, and like in the we know like the how fame works, things just start go like twisted, and then I was living her life. I was forgetting about me to train, to work hard
Yeah.
to try to give my best, and we went to different ways, and that's when I went to New York. Actually, Paulo, he was the one who took me to Hillsong, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
saw you. Yeah,
Nice.
Paulo was the one that took me to Hillsong, and that's when I actually connected more with God.
Mm.
And I think since of that day, God started to like do more a different plan to my life, because I was kind of when me and Nigel broke, I kind of like lost the ground.
Yeah.
and on her mind, I was making her late. I was I make her oh, he's just slow me down. I
Regrets.
could
Okay.
he's just slow me down. I could go like faster.
Yeah.
And I understood on time. I got, of course, like everybody else, right, in the relationship, got upset. But then I decided to let her live her life. And then from Dallas, I moved to New York.
Yeah.
That we were in the process of visa or green card,
Hmm.
and we don't really know what was going to happen. Like if our visa was going to be approved or not. That there is, for Brazilians, there is always this fight. The visa thing.
Yeah.
And then that's when on the Hillsong I started praying for God. I say, God, like I do not accept that I'm gonna live like that, because I have not. I was like with, I think it was $15-20 in my pocket
Mm.
for to live the week in New York, and everything is very expensive, right?
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And then that was crazy because I was like, man, God, no, now you gotta help me. If you exist, you're gonna give me like a shot, like a chance. And then that's when I got out of the church, I was very like feel like free, because I let everything inside the of Hillsong. When I was walking on the Fifth Avenue to get the 37th Street, uh, that's when I on my phone I heard a message like whoop, and like, oh, there's an email, and then I went to check my email. It was actually the immigration saying that our green card got approved.
Mm.
And then I was like, man, that's crazy. I just said God like he had to give me, otherwise I would never believe him anymore. And
Yeah.
that's when, in the same time, for you to see how crazy it is, I spoke to Murillo and I told him like, hey Murillo, like my visa just got approved, and I was with $20 on my on my pocket, and then he said, oh, that's cool, but you know what? Now you can teach the kids, and I'll pay you. And right away, like, and right after he gave me a check of $1,000, I was like, wow,
Wow, that's awesome.
it's
That's
huge.
awesome.
I
You know,
was
it's fun. I'm remembering we were at Hillsong together one day, or you found me, and
like,
I didn't really know you super well. I knew you a little bit through passing, but you're like, "Hey, Gianni, what's up? How you doing?" I'm like, "Wow, this guy is really happy right now. This guy, you know." So even through like those difficult days, you're still able to maintain positivity because, and it kind of goes back because of your faith. You're kind of able to kind of stay positive because of that. You would say,
yes.
yeah. That's awesome. So I'm curious, like you guys struggle so much when you first come here. Why move here? You know, what you probably you have family at home in Brazil. You have your training. I know you guys. I like to know a little bit of background, but I know I've seen you guys both at Cicero's at certain points. I'm sure training was cool, and also like at Leandro's. I mean, you have good training out there. What made you go into this difficult situation of moving to the U.S.?
The American dream.
Is it that big? Is it like
Exactly. Yeah, man. Like
really?
for everybody in Brazil, everybody wants to live the American dream. You know,
Hmm.
here's the place that you like, that like a rich guy, not like super rich, but I mean like someone with money and someone with no money, both can still have the same car, same, same, same. At least here in San Antonio, in Texas.
Yeah,
So I can live the same way that somebody like that has money live.
yeah.
And that's what we're looking for, because in Brazil it's too much struggle.
And I see so many people move to the U.S. from Brazil. I mean, is it easy for your families or for other people's families, or is that something that they're like, go do it because we know that's better for you? What's that situation like? Because I can't imagine, going very far from my family and knowing there's a better opportunity there. But I guess if it's for something maybe even better out there, it's an easier decision to make,
Yeah,
right?
on the beginner, I didn't realize how good it was, to live here. Actually, I didn't like it, even though like I didn't speak English. I had no
Yeah, no.
friends, no family, anybody, and it was hard for me. Even the train was very different for us, and I was
Hmm.
like, man, what I'm doing here, But like he always had a good mind about everything, and he said no us because we'll have a good food, the good train, good opportunities. The big tournaments is here, so and we didn't have money to back and forth all the time to compete. Especially now, the dollar is very expensive. But
Yeah,
even before was like I think $1 was R$ 3, something like that. So for us it was hard, to buy the tickets and
Pay to hotel.
registration, yeah, everything, food. So
yeah.
whenever we had an opportunity to come and stay, or like you just
Yeah, we just
hug,
got it.
yeah,
And also
That's crazy. That's
like
awesome. Come on.
also it was not too hard for me, because when I was 17, that's when I left my parents.
Hmm.
So I'm from Amazon, natural from Amazon, right?
Okay.
And in Amazon, it's like a, well, man, it's a crazy place that everybody, in every single quarter there's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, and you will find good guys there, but there's like it's opportunity is like is rare.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And whoever, if an opportunity to show up, you need to get it. That's how it is over there. And my first opportunity was to go to São Paulo,
Okay.
and Iago, my cousin, Iago de Souza.
Mm-hmm.
So that's he told me like, hey, come here. We have Leandro, we have the Meow brothers, and Leandro, Paulo, João. They had been competing in Amazon too. We already had a good friendship.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's when I decided to go to São Paulo. I was 17 years old, you know, and I told my parents like, if you know, because my parents got mad. Of course, all the parents want the kids to study, right? But I
Yeah.
was very like, you know, like, oh, I'm in love with jiu-jitsu. I need to do jiu-jitsu. And when I was like 16, I believe, I won the worlds, but it was the worlds of another federation in Brazil, same federation that Bochecha, Leandro used to fight in Brazil because no one had visa before, you know. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was a
yeah.
very competitive tournament, and most of the people that fought this tournament and had the chance to win, today they are, you know, they having like a career in jiu-jitsu, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that a lot. And I feel like you guys almost become more mature at a younger age because I wouldn't say that I was overly privileged. I had to work for everything that I got as well, training wise.
Uh-huh.
But you have to. I feel like when you're out in Brazil, you have to kind of fight for more opportunities. You have to be able to go further for things. Whereas like things are in the U.S. are way more accessible for people. You know, they're kind of within reach. You don't have to go very far. But it sounds like a lot of the highest level competitors really had to like be really committed to it
Yeah.
and be able to leave family early on and be able to maybe sacrifice other things that they would have liked to have had in life. So would you say that like having those type of experiences for both of you, I'd like to ask like that it probably helped you more in the long run, right?
Yes.
Yes, because like before, my mom used to do everything for me, like everything, food, washing my geese, everything. I didn't have to do anything, just train, you know. So as soon I moved to US, was like different, you know, was hard for me
Yeah,
because I had to make
yeah,
my own food or food, wash kids and take care about the house and everything. And I was getting crazy, you know. I
yeah,
was about, I think, 20 years old, you know, and I never left my hometown. Never.
yeah. Really? Wow.
Yes.
No,
So
no. So that's a big change for you.
it was a big change. It was the first time, you know, that I came here and I spent a couple months with Hiba and
she,
was different already. And
she
I,
used to cry for her mom and
yes, I
everything.
cry every day, call like, oh, I want to go home.
And the
Yeah,
first
yeah. I
year
don't.
was like, really, you were 1 year far away from your parents and you're crying. I'm almost like, you know, since about my 17 years old, I'm out at home, like, and you crying. Like, I told him one day I got mad. I said, do you think that I don't miss my parents or my family? You're crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's tough, man. I can't imagine like I remember I was supposed to move to California at one point and it didn't work out, but I remember I was like I couldn't sleep at night because I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be so far away from my family." It was something that was very hard for me to accept. Um, Damn, what was I going to ask? Well, so now that you guys are here, you've been in the U.S. I mean, what do you think about? Is it still the dream? Or is it? I feel like as an American, it's so easy to find the issues in the country, and there's a lot, and there's issues everywhere.
Uh-huh.
But now that you're fully immersed, is it everything that you expected it to be, or is it less, or is it more? Or what do you
Well,
guys think?
well, Johnny, to be real with you,
Be real.
it's like I'm living the extraordinary every day in my life.
Mm,
Because,
awesome.
you know, like it's way more different in Brazil than, you know, the struggle in Brazil is real, bro. It's like, I don't know, it's like let's say that you get, like, let's say I was watching a TV show and they were talking about Palm Beach and the difference between Palm Beach and West Palm.
Were you watching the Jeffrey Epstein documentary?
Exactly, this one.
That's shit
That
is
was
fucked up.
crazy,
Fucked up,
right?
man. But yeah, yeah. Tell me
Yeah,
about it.
so that it's kind of it's the same difference, you know.
Yeah,
So and also because I believe that because of God, like 2 is about 2 years ago, right, when we accepted Jesus as our
Mhm.
Savior, got baptized. Yeah, so two
mm,
years ago we were kind of homeless. The only thing that we had was our faith. The only
yeah,
difference for a homeless and us is that we had a gene to sleep. I have a gene to sleep. I had a gene to sleep. You know, that's the
yeah.
only, that were the only difference. And well, since then we got baptized. since that day, from that day to today, we were from the dark hole to a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu owner of a school, world champion, and many titles that we never could imagine that we could have, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it wasn't just us, you know. It wasn't because I worked really hard. Because if you really check my background of training, I for almost my whole life I trained with Leandro, Murilo. You know, I had the opportunity to train with Bochecha. We all the best guys in the planet, let's say.
Hmm.
And I never had a good I never were successful, you know, in tournaments.
Yeah.
So and then I was always like questioning myself. I was like, why? I trained so hard with everybody, and you know, I try to give my best in training so they can say that I'm a tough training for them. And when I go to the tournament, I don't perform the way that I'm supposed to. And then I start like make these questions, you know.
Yeah.
And then when we actually, Nacho was easy on that part because her mind was always really good, you know. She was always like, no, I came all the way from Brazil, and these ladies, they drink milk in the morning, they drink cereal,
Is
and I
that is
have
that
to
is that it? Oh, okay.
yeah,
Is
like,
that
you
like
know,
a
like
Brazilian saying they drink milk in the morning? I've never heard that one
the
before.
you know, I don't know, like she was trying
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, I know what you're
teach her
saying.
mind that people are living better than her, and she was living the struggle, and that's the reason why
Hmm.
she need to win, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and I and me, I were not like that confident, you know. I was always like complaining. I was like, oh man, why, you know, like things supposed to be easy for me because I'm training so hard more than everybody. And man, and well, in the end, when I got baptized and I start to understand more about joy, understand more about to be happy, understand more that it's not on my time, it's in the time of God that things will happen. This is
yeah.
when I understand about that, that things actually start to happen to me, you know.
Hmm.
I
When you
was
when you when you allow yourself to like not get caught up in the results, or not get or you don't get I can't think of what to say, but I know what you mean. I know
uh-huh.
what you mean. Um,
Yeah, like you
yeah,
kind of
I just funny. I noticed a difference recently when you compete. I feel like you're always like this really tough guy, one of the tougher guys in the division, but like something was missing, sometimes. But I've noticed recently, just you kind of seem like you're just more confident out there. You seem to kind of like trust yourself more. I feel like that's something that everybody has to go through, where maybe we look at other competitors and how they compete, or we're kind of focusing too much on the competition. But I see you out there, and you seem to just be worried about yourself, focused on yourself. And I think that's got to be such an important thing too, being happy, right?
yeah.
It's so hard to do this sport if you're not enjoying it too. If you're like mentally unhappy or struggling, but kind of being able to just enjoy the process, I'm sure for both of you, makes it so much easier to compete and find success too, right?
Yeah. And also because like I truly believe in the gospel and the Bible, right? First that I read that the Holy Spirit is a spirit of self-control, out of control, right? Self-control and like joy, you know, all these things from like it's provided by the Holy Spirit. And I used to be a kind of person that I was always upset with something. I wanted to fight. I wanted to, you know, like I was complaining. I was angry. Like if someone said something for me, my opinion was always different. You know, very stubborn. And when I read that, I was like, "Whoa, that's not the Holy Spirit inside of me."
Yeah.
And
It's hard to really do anything. Sorry, it's hard to really do anything well when you're angry too. I imagine you want when you compete. People are saying, "Do you compete angry?" I'm like, no. I think I have this kind of fire. You kind of have this energy that you need to have, but it's not anger, because that type of emotion just takes you the wrong direction. So it's really important, yeah, like you said.
yeah, so this helped me a lot. Now, uh, and two things that I learned that make me like I don't know evolve too much was ask God first if I should fight or not, and also like try to be full of the Holy Spirit and
Hmm.
deliver joy. Paulo know me well, like in the unity. I used to wake up in the morning and say, "Good morning, it's me, the Joy." And so, and then there, for a period of time, everybody, my nickname was the Joy. He was the Joy. He was the Joy. Where, wherever he went, everybody gets through me. So in every place that I go, me and we go, and we always try to, like deliver this, like the joy, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, you're cutting out just a little bit. I can't hear you. So maybe can you just I don't know, adjust to how it was before? Maybe I don't know.
Can you hear now?
Sorry. Yeah, I can hear you better now. I I was like missing words that you were saying at some points. Well, so
Yeah.
I'll let you know. But no, I feel like I feel like I'm just repeating the same thing now. Anyways, so when you guys moved to the US, did you always expect yourself to be in Texas, or what was your dream scenario, or was it really like just you'll take anything you can get?
I think Texas like always
Yeah.
was a good option for us, especially for me because the first time that I came to spend months was here in San Antonio. You know,
Okay.
so I really like the city. Everything is cheap. The people here is super nice. You
Hmm.
know, we had like a lot of Brazilian friends. Our professor is Brazilian too. We have like a lot of friends. So I really enjoy. And my first thought was to move here to you,
Hmm. Okay.
to Texas, to San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that before. I always felt like people wanted to be in California. I don't know about New York. What do you guys think about New York? Gets too cold. Are you guys all right with the cold, or?
Yeah. So,
Uh,
well, I was fine.
I didn't like
Nacho hates.
I
Nacho
figured.
hates the
That's what I
cold.
it.
figured.
Nacho hates the cold.
It's too cold.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I feel that as well. I can't imagine like living in Brazil your whole life and then all of a sudden moving to like somewhere like New York where
Yeah.
when it's cold, it's cold.
Yeah, and it's
That's right.
different. Remind me a lot of in São Paulo that you
Yeah.
gotta
São Paulo is
use
very cold too.
subway
Okay.
all the
Hmm.
time, train, like
But you didn't like that. You didn't
no,
like
I
that.
didn't
No.
because like I spent years, to from my house to Cicero Academy was about 2 hours and a half, almost 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So and I used to do this every single day to go and back.
She used to get a bus, a subway, and a train,
Yes, and it's still 30 minutes
and 30
walk.
minutes walk.
Yeah. Damn. Okay. I won't complain about my commutes anymore. That sounds like about as tough
Yes,
as it
now we
gets.
live like across street
Yeah.
from the gym, so
Yeah.
it's easy.
Now, Nachi, I want to ask you because when you got your black belt, you were still succeeding really well. You did really well right off the beginning, and you're telling me both of you are telling me that like those first few years in the U.S. when you guys were early black belts were difficult. For me, like when money is tight, when things outside of training are difficult, it's very hard to focus on training well, performing well in competition. How are you able to kind of still be able to perform at a high level when things are so difficult early on, both, off the mat especially?
Yes. So I always had a good mind, I always put on my mind, you are the best, no matter what. Even if like I compete against men, I'll be still think that I'm better, the best.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
And whenever I was passing for a hard time, for me was like an opportunity, to win and start do seminars and maybe, show up some good opportunities with sponsorships and everything. And also, like beside that, like you was talking about our religion and God, what He did with us. I
Hmm.
think God, He allowed me to win that tournament, this all the kind of tournaments because inside truly inside of my heart I never had this like desire to be like I don't know like the best or the medal was something that was really important to me or even the title. So my first world title was whenever I was purple belt, and I remember as soon like I did 5 tough fights, and whenever I looked to the side, it was Luisa and he, but it was crying, like, oh, she won. And I was like, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
never, like, I know for some people, jiu-jitsu and world title can be like everything. They always dream about it. But for me, it wasn't like that. I always loved jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu actually. I
Hmm.
love jiu-jitsu. I love to train. But I think since in the beginning, my heart was only in jiu-jitsu, not in the tournament. And I didn't change because of that. That's why I think God, he allowed me to win, because he knew that if I would win or lose would make any difference. And for
Yeah.
some people it's different, like Hiba is example for that, because I have 100% sure if he uh, win his world title on the beginner, if he was able to win the world title in the beginning, I'm sure he wasn't here today,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because his mind was different, and
Yeah.
so that's why I think always God always blessed me with this. And because my heart never was in a medal or in a title. I just enjoy to be there competing and fighting and make friends.
Yeah. That's interesting. I like that a lot. I feel like that's kind of like that's got to be like a very healthy approach too, where I feel like if you're training just to compete, I don't know if your motivation is in the right place. You got to do it because you enjoy it as well.
True.
It's true.
I feel like what changed for me over the last couple of years, I felt like I wasn't training for any competition. I was training just to improve, just to enjoy it, just to kind of expand my mind. And then along those lines, you would eventually like find results and things would happen in competition, but you weren't focusing on like such a big result. I feel like when you focus on a big result, it's even harder to attain,
It's
you
true.
know? So it's like when you can find the enjoyment in the process and be able to kind of just improve daily, that's where you find the success.
True.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's like a drill.
Yeah. Man, so I want to know what I mean, you guys have obviously seen both sides, but what was the training like out in Brazil, really? I know I like these deep questions, but I do want to know a little bit about training out in Brazil and where you guys were.
Man, training in Brazil was always like frenetic, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so well, in Brazil, I'm going to like resume how people think in Brazil. So it's too many people struggling and they angry to succeed, you know.
Hmm.
It's like it's the only chance for them to, especially the whoever trains jiu-jitsu, it's the only chance for them to become something somebody else, you know, because
Hmm.
that's one of the words. That's why, that's why there's the phrase in Brazil that everybody know in the whole world, which is like only jiu-jitsu saves.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's because in Brazil only jiu-jitsu saves was not just because of the martial arts and talking about martial arts and jiu-jitsu will be the martial arts. They're always gonna save someone because of the submission or something like that. People actually thinking about this phrase as like because most of the people in Brazil that joined jiu-jitsu because they used to be drug addicts, they used to be like homeless, they used to be they didn't go to school, like so there's no way for them to make money because they don't have a degree. So that's what actually this phrase means in Brazil. So everybody that they just need to be tough because they need to find a way to be somebody, like they
Yeah.
need to find a way to get a sponsorship, to have an opportunity to teach in a school, or to be invited to teach in a school, or to do a seminar, or to, like it's like here, like but over there the struggle is a little bit like more, just
And
a
I
little bit more.
and I think the
Yeah.
Brazilians, they are two competitors.
Yeah, they're very
Like they want
competitive.
to challenge themselves, even the train. They don't want to
Yeah.
lose for anybody. They count advantage and penalties and everything.
Yeah.
And
And
especially
penalties.
Cicero Costa was crazy every day. Like Leandro had a fight with somebody else. Like Riba used to complain about, no, this was an advantage. It was in the wall. It was pushing the wall. And
One time I was
That's
training.
funny.
One time I was training with Paulo, and he was purple belt, and I was blue, and we were training together, and then he went to the beer bowl, and then he went to my back, right, and then I stand up right away, and then he was hiding on my back like when I was standing, right, and then I
Yeah.
start to walk to the window, And I looked to him and say, "It's out. Let's go. Start over. Stand up." And then he started like almost crying. No, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that anymore. I was like, no, no. Now we have to start over on top. And he was so upset with me. He and João, bro, they were so mad with me. He was all the time like, bro, you're too clever. No, you can't do this. You have to fight back.
What do you guys think about that? Was that when you look back at that, was that something, was that kind of style all the time? Do you think it was a good thing? Or do you think that do you
No,
think there should be an adjustment to that?
no, it had to be adjustment to that, you know. Well, sometimes it can help you in a tournament a little bit, be a little bit clever, right? Of
Yeah.
course, and but not too much. No, not all the time. I was too much. Like
I never was like
I would
this.
make like the guys mad because I would do something like that, you know, like. And now, of course, and I learned a lot with Paulo, João, and Leandro, like to go more, like no, go hard more, you know, like no, I have to fight until the end. I need to survive against all the grips. I need to find a way to survive. I need to find a way to be on top without to be swept or something like that. I learned this from them.
Yeah. But I
Yeah.
think everywhere in Brazil, here, everywhere, we have two kind of academies, right? The competitors one and like the just business one. And I came from for a business academy, like a regular academy, and then, I used to train every day. Was like a good train. But as soon I moved to Cicero Costha, that I was purple belt already, I saw a new world. Like it was
Yeah.
totally different. Was totally different. Like the white belts, they used to beat me up like so bad. And my first academy, that never happened. So was kind of like crazy and confused for me. It was like, how they are so good, man. Like even this little kid, like he's 14 years old, green belt, he like just choked me twice. What's
Yeah.
happening?
And why do you think that is? Is just because the gym itself and like all the rounds are so competitive, whereas maybe at more business like gyms, the rounds just aren't that type of competitiveness?
It's because in Cicero, like right, baby, it's a different
Yeah.
approach of any other technique, or any other gene. Like so, in a regular gene, you have like let's say 1 hour and a half training, right?
Yeah.
And you have let's say about 40 minutes of technique and drill, right? Specific, and then rolling, right?
Yeah.
Depending on what gene are you. And Cicero, we actually don't have we didn't have coach at all, like no coaching
Mm.
at all. There's no one to teach a technique in the mat, you know.
Yeah. Now it's a
Yeah.
little different. Like,
Now it's a little different,
but before, yeah,
but
it
Okay.
was like that.
before it was, we had to do every day. The training of 12, it was from 12 until 1 o'clock, was drill only. And then
Okay.
and then you were like, that's a Cicero mindset. It was a really smart mindset. So because he had open class champion from white into black belt. And
Okay.
then when people would go to the school and ask like, so what are I supposed to drill, you know? So and then he looked to the other all the main guys of the gene, Leandro, Paulo, João, and Murilo, and all these guys. He said, which one of these guys you like the most? And then, oh, I like Leandro's style. Then you just drew Toreando pass for 1 hour, you know?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and then like for the whole life, and then we start to like drill by yourselves. And then eventually, like people start to find their own style, you know? Like Iago had his
Okay.
own style, Leandro had his own style, I have my own style, and then Paulo has his own style, João, and then people start to mix, you know, like the styles, and then you could find guy who could play really good X guard and also do brimbolo, and we were like, whoa, this guy is weird because he can do both. Yeah, you know? And then someone are really good passing, and Cicero, most of the guys at the school were really good passing, so
Okay.
you could do this that way you could develop like a jiu-jitsu, you know.
That's it. Yeah, I was curious about that because I remember that's what I would hear about the training, but I'm like, well, how do you guys? Where does the improvement come? How do you develop new things when you're not really being taught, but you're just drilling? But I'd imagine it's just kind of like having people kind of lead by example. It wasn't so much like things being told, but more like just kind of watching others. Would you say? Was
Yeah,
that kind of it? Yeah.
Yes. Well, sometimes like Leandro, Paulo, João, they were always like, oh, like because they had coach before.
Mhm.
They had a coach before. Cicero used to teach the class, and then he stopped. When
Yeah.
he got a certain age, he stopped. But
And
but
also, like, whenever had happen a different situation, the gene, we could see a lot of times they reunite, small groups and discuss about the position. How are we going to escape from the lapel? Whenever the
yeah,
lapel
Yeah.
part, happen. Oh, I think this way. No, I think this
yeah,
way. And they start develop positions.
yeah,
Even the blue belts and
very
white belts, they had the small groups and doing that. And whenever you saw like everybody was, good,
yeah. It's
tough.
just like very creative. Like. They get together like when remember the berimbolo, everybody was all berimbolo, berimbolo, and then we stopped and like, oh, how can I escape from here? And then everybody would do a one escape, and then we would see like, oh, I like that one the most.
Yeah. So it's got to be like almost like a real group effort to improve, and you
Yeah,
got to be able to ask questions after. So I'm sure, like you said, your favorite time is that time after the training.
yeah.
So that's where you're able to develop the game the most. That's interesting. How much did the Meows hate it when you guys would practice how to like stop the Baron Bowler with that ball?
Oh my
That just
god.
drive them.
No, they would get mad. Well, since then I know Paul and João. Like for 5 years that I lived at the gym with them.
Hmm.
For 5 years, saw them drilling, do regular beating bolo every single day for 1 hour. Now
Hmm.
you can then like you can just put like you can just start to like in a status see like how much they're like advanced on this position. Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they only drill this one like bro like for real like 1 hour now 1 hour same one they change a little bit couple details right soon
Hmm.
then when they find out about the crab ride and everything and then they start like drill more with crab ride but before it was only beating bull the regular one and
Yeah.
he would take they would take the back of everybody at the school and yeah they were very like annoying like
Very nice. It's like little pests. Like
yeah
get away from
get out.
So was that kind of hard to leave when you moved to the U.S.? Was that kind of like I mean, you guys, it sounds like you really wanted the opportunity here, but you kind of know your training routine. Was that kind of difficult to kind of for me, like I'm such a homebody. I like my routine. I like being at Marcelo's every day. I don't really like training at too many different gyms.
Uh-huh.
I will give a shout out to Cyborg. Cyborgs is a fun gym to train at, Fight Sports Miami.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I always enjoyed being in my one place. And I never trained very well at other places. I don't know. I would feel pressure to do well or whatever. So how was that when you guys moved here? It sounds like you guys knew people in San Antonio, but how was that transition, at least training wise?
Well, like Caesar grow us with the mindset that we should train with everybody,
Hmm.
like anybody, everybody, because he was a very like scared to the gene, be staggered, like stop to evolve. So
Yeah.
they would say like, oh, there's a gene here, 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 here in this book. You guys go there, visit, see how trained it is. Like find the like if you see someone different try to figure out the game try to beat the game of the guy neutralize and he was always like that like he
Hmm.
wanted to train with someone really good just to because he was like a sponge he could like feel it and suck it up like oh now I know what to do and help others with that it was just a mindset that we would grow like we would train anywhere in any place
Yeah.
we don't. I think we don't feel like the difference, like training, like at our school and training someone in another school.
I think the
Yeah.
different was the style. Whenever I got here, I feel a little different, yes, because I was, used to train 2 hours per day or like per training and like a lot of rounds. And whenever we got here, like we had to do warm up was something that I never did before.
I hate the. What do you guys think about the jogging? I hate
Ah,
jogging. I hate
Yeah,
yeah,
jogging.
no,
I
like
hate it.
I don't like either, and we had to do everything like, and what was killing me
Oh
was
shit! Wow,
that
whoa, whoa! Where'd I go? What Well, that's my apartment there.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hey,
I tried to check the time and instead I flipped the camera. All right, keep going. Sorry,
and
keep going.
what was killing me was about the specific training and the basic positions. I was like, I hated on the beginning because I didn't know how to escape from the mount. I didn't know how to escape from the back.
that
And our professor used to put us on these worst
this
positions all the time, and I was like, ah, I hate this. I don't want to do a specific training, you know. And we like, I don't know if you is the Brazilians or if the competitors, I don't know, but we had this thought like, he always asks, yeah, but if somebody pass your guard
yeah.
and and stabilize you in the
It's
second
like, but that
round,
doesn't happen. That doesn't
yes,
happen.
I always ask like, but no, nobody will
Well,
pass my guard.
and I was always complaining with him,
Like,
like, why I gonna train this if people don't get into my, like, on my
I
cycle
said,
drill? And I get
Yeah, I
mad with
know.
me.
I've struggled with that.
I
Yeah.
would
yeah,
get mad if I said no, but like in the time of the roll, like he's not gonna start on my back, like, and
Yeah.
man, this is actually was what made me like evolve, like I
yes,
think the last percentage of my jiu-jitsu, like
Hmm.
that helped me so much. Now I feel like we can say now that I feel comfortable defending and attacking, but
yes,
before
Yeah.
I used to do like 40 points, 30 points in a match,
yeah.
and for me it was 30 points but no submission.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not only that, for me was like a lot of difference too, because like let's say I'm a woman, and whenever I came here for the first time, I was like 19 years old, so I didn't have too much strength, And I used to train only with the juveniles from the gym, like the blue belts, the white belts, even the light purple belts. So they used to move a lot. And whenever I got here, I was training with like a lot of masters and like they're so strong. And I was
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, I cannot do anything. Like, and that helped me a lot because I started to feel like stronger and a little bit more aggressive. Before my jiu-jitsu was too much like smooth and
Hmm.
just moving a lot, but I didn't have pressure whenever I had to, and as soon as I
Yeah.
started training here, like helped me a lot. I feel stronger and I feel that I have more pressure and like
Hmm.
now I can train with all kind of mans, like bigger, like small, heavy,
she,
not.
she was she was actually training with like 230-pound guys to fight Gabby.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you got to do, right?
Right. I was like,
That's what
man,
you.
like that's crazy. I was telling her, you're the only girl that like go to porrada with these big guys. And guy was cross facing her and like
Oh
Kimura
man,
her. I get so mad. I was like, man, I'm gonna kill this guy. He's just like,
crush my face with
yes,
the gi and like
smashing her face, like putting the elbow. I was like,
So
man,
the
has there
knee.
has there been plenty of times where you kind of have to like defend her honor there
oh yeah,
and go
well,
like teach them a lesson after?
yeah. we like when before Cicero, I were always like watching her roll. It was if it was a blur purple, brown, black belt, I was always watching her to see if they were going to hurt her or do
Yeah, yeah,
something
yeah.
that would get her like upset. And then all the time when she was complaining on the same round after the round, I was, hey, let's go. I was asking the guy to roll her out.
At least you know he's got your back on that. He's defending you there. It's funny, yeah, like at Marcelo's too. Marcelo, like he started doing more specific training or more starting from bad positions, and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
I'll see you next week. No, just
I'm
kidding.
like, yeah, I'm gonna go home now. No, but I would even tell him like, man, Marcelo, I don't like this. He's like, you need this, you need that to feel comfortable. And I remember distinctly, there was one time where it was such an annoying week of training. All we did was start training from like side control
Oh,
all week. I was like, this sucks. It really sucked, and I still think it sucked. But it paid off a lot. I remember that weekend I fought like a DC Open. I was fighting Johnny Tama. Like first 20 seconds of the match, he like surprised me and passed my
Bro, I
guard.
remember that. I
I was
remember
like,
that.
I had a split second where I was like, oh man, what's going on? But being in that position that I never really would train on my own, like people pass my guard, but most of the time I'm not there too much.
Uh-huh.
But thankfully, Marcelo putting me in that spot all week, I had never been so calm. I'm like, all right, I have about 9.5 minutes to work. I have plenty of time. I know the escapes. I know what he's going to try to do to try to get any finishes. I was able to replace, sweep, barrel. I forgot what happened, but ended
You
up on the
passed.
back,
I
ended
think
up winning.
you passed, took the back, and submitted from the back, I believe.
I couldn't submit him. I
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
submit
yeah.
him
So
though.
it was like, yeah, I
Couldn't
believe that
submit
you
him.
recovered and swept and passed this guard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was weird. He was like talking shit to me while I was on his back.
Really?
It was very strange. It was very strange. But anyways, yeah, that was so you kind of realize like working everything is like really important.
Is
You
it?
know, if you kind yeah.
That's
What
all.
else was I gonna say? Yeah. Damn, I'm working on these interviews and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna have any questions for these guys. I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow. But then there's always about like 10 minutes left or eight. There's like we'll say like 5, 6 minutes left, and I can't think of anything else to talk about
For
sometimes.
sure. No, Johnny, we
No,
want to
so
thank you for the opportunity too, man. Like it's also, it's very, very, very amazing that what you've been doing. You know, like doing the lives with everybody. You know, like it's awesome because we want to hear about your story, and we also want to hear about other people's story. You know, like I myself, I'm a huge fan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitors. I have
mhm.
no one that I'm not a fan. You know, I always tell Nachi, like I've seen people that because they got a black belt, the same division as me, and they used to like comment my pictures and post like comment my photos saying that oh, I'm a huge fan. Then suddenly they got the black belt. They don't even shake my hands. They pass through me and like turn away. And then we're like, man,
Yeah,
like I'm such a fan of this guy. Why he's doing that?
yeah, that's it's strange how some people are. I think the nicest thing about this whole conversation that I've had with all these people and with you guys is that like we see each other at the tournaments, but it's never like very easy to talk to people at tournaments.
He's right.
People, you're actually very easy to talk to.
Yeah,
You're always
he
happy. You're
is.
always
Yes.
happy. But majority of the people are like you can't really talk to them. And I've had a couple of chats with people where I was like I was kind of nervous about it because every time I would talk to them, it was competition, and they're like focused, they're in a zone. But kind of seeing each other outside the competition and learning from people outside is so much better. I'm like, wow, there's so many people that are so much nicer actually
Yeah.
Yeah.
than what I
Or like
expected.
and, and then on the end what's gonna count it is this the friendship that you're gonna build with people, like you're gonna compete for like couple years, but then after that, some
Yeah,
people they like
Yeah.
they doesn't like to talk to each other and
Yeah.
make friends, but for us this is the special moments, that we can make friends, and in a couple years you're gonna see each other like as a professors and like, hey, what's up? How
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything. I remember when we used to compete and it was fun, and I'm like that too. All the girls that I've been competing, I talk to all of them, and this is for me is the most special moment.
You guys always feel like that was better for a better way for you guys to compete without like animosity towards your opponents. To kind of, not that you have to talk to them like all the time before you compete, but it's important to kind of have a certain level of respect too.
Yes,
Yes.
I feel,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I,
So I talk to everyone. People think I'm weird, but it I don't care, like because I'm an easy person. Like we can go to the mat and we're gonna like kill each other, and then after we get off the mat, man, I'm gonna hug you, I'm gonna shake your
We're
hand,
gonna eat
and we're
together.
gonna eat together. Like I've done this like many times. Like fight the guy, lose or win. Let's go eat, and then we go eat and talk. Like have fun. And it's for me, it's what's like I said in jiu-jitsu, what's the most like funniest part is after fight is the talk, get to know people
yeah.
more, build friendship, that's what it's really matter in the end.
Yes.
Well,
we
I
all
don't have much else. Yeah,
we all
go
gonna
ahead, go
get
ahead.
old one day, right? So one
Yeah.
day, like like one day I'll be like 70 years old, and then you will be like 70, 71. I'll be like, hey Johnny, let's come to my gym to do a seminar, right?
Because,
Yeah,
and I'll just show this stuff like this. Okay, you do the because by that time, training 50 years, I'm not going to be able to do it.
yeah, I would be
I'm not.
like, man, or it can be soon, like it's always like that, like so there's no reason for us to be. Oh no, my gene just come people that I
It's the same
actually
team.
talk or know,
Yeah.
same team. I
Mm-mm.
think this is very like I don't know.
Well, that's awesome. That's that's the way to be, because there is life after competing as well. And you want to
Exactly.
make sure that you can maintain those relationships. You know, your competitors in that moment, but after that moment, that's it. You know, I think people need to be reminded of that sometimes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. But guys, I'll let you go. I'll let you go do your thing. Thank you for
Thank.
doing this. This was a lot of fun.
That
Oh, it
was
was
awesome.
fun.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Ken.
Hope you guys had a good time. But I'll see
Bye.
you guys soon. Thank you guys for joining.
See you, my
Thank
brother.
you.
See ya.